You're not tired. Your organs are failing. You wake up tired, not the normal kind of tired, not the I stayed up too late tired. This is deeper, heavier, a fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. You drink coffee, nothing. You take vitamins, nothing. You rest, still nothing. And everyone keeps telling you the same thing. You're just stressed. You're getting older. It's normal. But I'm here to tell you something most people never hear until it's too late. You are not tired. Your body is struggling to survive. My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller. For over 2 decades, I've studied internal medicine, organ failure patterns, metabolic decline, and silent disease progression. And what I'm about to tell you may make you uncomfortable because it exposes a truth modern medicine rarely explains clearly. Fatigue is not the disease. Fatigue is the warning signal. It's the final language your organs use when they're being overworked, underfed, inflamed, and slowly breaking down. Your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your gut, your mitochondria, the tiny engines that power every cell. They don't scream, they whisper, and most people ignore those whispers until the damage becomes irreversible. Here's the terrifying part. By the time blood tests look abnormal, organ failure has already been developing for years. Years. You didn't suddenly become exhausted. Your body has been compensating silently until it couldn't anymore. This documentary is not about fear, it's about truth. Because once you understand why your body feels drained, foggy, heavy, and slow, you can stop the decline. Today, we are going to uncover why chronic fatigue is often the first stage of organ dysfunction, how modern lifestyle forces your organs into overdrive, the exact signals your body gives before failure, and how to reverse damage before it becomes disease. This isn't motivation, this is physiology, and it might save your life. The biggest lie about fatigue. Modern culture treats exhaustion like a personality flaw. If you're tired, you're told to work harder, push through, drink more caffeine, sleep earlier. But biology doesn't work like motivation posters. Your body runs on energy conversion, not willpower. Every second, your organs convert oxygen, nutrients, and hormones into usable energy. When that system breaks down, no amount of rest will fix it. Let me say this clearly. You don't feel tired because you're lazy. You feel tired because your organs are overwhelmed. And the most dangerous exhaustion is the one that becomes normal. People come to my clinic saying, "I've felt like this for years. I thought this was just adulthood. Everyone feels like this, right?" No, they don't. You've just adapted to dysfunction. Why this is happening to so many people. Now, this level of fatigue wasn't common 50 years ago. Something changed. Actually, many things changed. Ultra-processed food, constant stress hormones, poor sleep cycles, environmental toxins, sedentary living mixed with mental overload, chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, gut microbiome collapse. Your organs were never designed for this environment, so they adapt. At first, they compensate, then they strain, then they fail, quietly. Fatigue is the middle stage, the body's emergency mode. Your body has a survival setting. When organs can't keep up, your system does one thing. It shuts down non-essential functions. Motivation drops, focus disappears, libido vanishes, muscle strength weakens, mood flattens, memory fades. Not because you're depressed, because energy is being redirected to keep you alive. Your body isn't failing randomly, it's prioritizing survival. Why doctors miss? Most medical systems look for disease, not dysfunction. If your numbers are within range, you're told you're fine. But normal does not mean optimal, and organs can lose 30–40% of function before standard tests catch it. By then, symptoms have been screaming for years. Fatigue is not vague, it is specific. You just need to know how to interpret it. Your organs are failing narration, Dr. Stuart R. Miller. You wake up every morning feeling tired, but not the kind of tired that goes away after a good night's sleep. This is a deeper exhaustion, the kind that settles into your bones, slows your thoughts, and makes even simple tasks feel heavy. You tell yourself it's stress, age, work, or life in general. Everyone around you says the same thing. But what if I told you that what you're feeling is not normal, and more importantly, it's not just fatigue? My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller, and after decades studying internal medicine and the slow progression of chronic disease, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. You're not tired because you're lazy, unmotivated, or weak. You're tired because your body is struggling, and your organs are quietly failing under pressure long before traditional medicine calls it a disease. The human body is incredibly intelligent, but it is also incredibly patient. It doesn't shut down suddenly. It adapts, compensates, and redistributes energy just to keep you alive. When your organs are overloaded, inflamed, or undernourished, your body enters a survival mode where it begins to conserve energy by shutting down anything that isn't essential for immediate survival. Motivation disappears, focus fades, memory slips, your mood flattens, not because you're depressed, but because energy is being redirected to keep vital systems running. Fatigue is not the problem. Fatigue is the warning signal. Most people don't realize that energy doesn't come from sleep alone. Sleep prepares the system, but real energy is produced at the cellular level. Every second, your cells convert oxygen and nutrients into usable energy. When that process becomes inefficient, exhaustion becomes constant. You can sleep 8 hours and still wake up feeling drained because the problem is not rest, it's energy production. And energy production depends on organ health. When organs struggle, the entire system slows down. The liver is often the first organ to suffer, and most people never realize it. Your liver is responsible for hundreds of essential functions, including regulating blood sugar, processing fats, detoxifying chemicals, and managing hormones. When the liver becomes overloaded, even slightly, energy crashes become common, especially after meals. You may feel heavy, foggy, or unusually tired in the morning. This doesn't require alcohol abuse. Modern diets filled with sugar, refined carbohydrates, processed oils, and constant stress inflame liver tissue quietly. Fatty liver disease is now one of the most common conditions in the world, and fatigue is often the very first sign. Your kidneys also play a critical role in how energized you feel. They filter waste, regulate minerals, balance fluids, and maintain blood pressure. When kidney function declines even a small amount, toxins that should be removed begin to accumulate. This creates a constant feeling of heaviness, mental dullness, and unexplained weakness. People often assume they're dehydrated or just overworked, but in reality their filtration system is under strain. The body feels tired because it is literally carrying waste it cannot efficiently remove. The heart contributes to fatigue in ways most people don't expect. Heart strain doesn't always show up as chest pain or dramatic symptoms. Early signs include getting tired from minor physical activity, feeling short of breath while doing simple tasks, or experiencing sudden exhaustion without warning. The heart's job is to deliver oxygen to every cell in the body. When circulation becomes less efficient, cells starve for oxygen and fatigue becomes unavoidable. The body slows you down because it cannot support high output anymore. The gut is another major source of chronic exhaustion. If your digestive system is inflamed or damaged, nutrients are not absorbed properly, no matter how healthy your diet looks on paper. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fats are the raw materials your cells need to produce energy. When absorption fails, your cells are underfed. Bloating, discomfort, and fatigue often appear together, not by coincidence, but because inflammation in the gut drains energy before disease is ever diagnosed. At the deepest level of fatigue lies mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria are the tiny structures inside your cells responsible for producing energy. They are extremely sensitive to stress, poor sleep, inflammation, toxins, and nutrient deficiencies. When mitochondria are damaged, every organ in the body slows down. This is where chronic, unrelenting exhaustion begins. This is why caffeine stops working. Caffeine doesn't create energy. It only blocks the signals telling you that you're running out of it. Over time, this forces already struggling systems to work even harder, deepening the damage and making the fatigue worse. One of the most dangerous things people do is normalize exhaustion. They say this is just adulthood or everyone feels like this. They adapt to dysfunction instead of addressing it. The body can lose a large portion of organ function before blood tests ever show a problem. By the time results are labeled abnormal, damage has often been building for years. Fatigue is not vague, it is precise. It is the body's earliest alarm system, and ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes the warning louder later. The truth is, many forms of organ stress and early failure are reversible when addressed early. The body has an incredible capacity to heal, but it requires awareness, reduction of chronic stress, proper nourishment, and time. Fatigue is not your enemy, it is an invitation. It is your body asking you to pay attention before something breaks beyond easy repair. The longer you ignore it, the more your body is forced to compensate in ways that eventually become disease. If you feel exhausted every day, stop blaming your mindset. Stop pushing harder. Stop masking symptoms with stimulants and distractions. Listen to what your body is telling you. Fatigue is not weakness, it is intelligence. It is your organs asking for relief, support, and care. My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller, and if this message feels uncomfortably accurate, it may be because your body has been trying to get your attention for a very long time. Don't wait until it has to scream, and organs can lose 30–40% of function before standard tests catch it. By then, symptoms have been screaming for years. Fatigue is not vague, it is specific. You just need to know how to interpret it. You wake up tired, but it's not the kind of tired that makes sense. It doesn't match what you did yesterday, how much you slept, or how much effort you put in. It's a deep, persistent exhaustion that feels like it's coming from inside you, not from your schedule. You try to push through it because that's what you've been taught to do. You drink coffee, scroll your phone, convince yourself you'll feel better once the day gets moving. But the heaviness stays. Your body moves, but something inside you feels slow, drained, and resistant. My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller, and after years of studying how the human body breaks down long before it officially gets sick, I can tell you this clearly and without exaggeration. What you're feeling is not normal fatigue. It is a biological warning. The human body does not fail suddenly. It is not dramatic. It does not collapse without first trying to survive in silence. Your body is built to compensate, to reroute energy, to make sacrifices behind the scenes so that you can keep functioning. And that's exactly what it's been doing. When your organs are placed under constant pressure from stress, inflammation, poor nutrition, lack of recovery, and environmental overload, they don't stop working right away. They work harder, they stretch their limits, they borrow energy from the future, and the first thing you feel when this process begins is not pain, it is fatigue. A fatigue that no amount of motivation can override. Most people misunderstand where energy actually comes from. They believe energy is something you create with sleep, positivity, or effort. But biologically, energy is manufactured at the cellular level every second of every day. Oxygen is delivered to your cells. Nutrients are broken down. Mitochondria convert those raw materials into usable energy that powers your brain, muscles, organs, and immune system. When this process is smooth and efficient, you feel alert, clear-headed, and capable. When it becomes strained, everything slows down. Your thoughts become foggy. Your reaction time dulls. Your body feels heavy. This is not psychological weakness. It is metabolic strain. One of the most overlooked contributors to this strain is the liver. Your liver is not just a detox organ, it is the metabolic command center of your body. It manages blood sugar, processes fats, stores vitamins, regulates hormones, and neutralizes toxins before they damage other tissues. When the liver is overwhelmed, even slightly, the entire energy system becomes unstable. Blood sugar spikes and crashes, hormones fall out of rhythm, inflammation increases, and the brain senses this instability immediately. You may feel exhausted after eating. You may wake up already tired. You may notice that your energy crashes for no obvious reason. This is not coincidence. It is the liver struggling to keep up in a world it was never designed for. What makes this especially dangerous is how quietly it happens. You don't need to drink alcohol. You don't need obvious symptoms, chronic sugar intake, refined carbohydrates, processed oils, constant stress hormones, and poor sleep are enough to inflame liver tissue over time. The liver compensates until it can't, and long before pain appears, fatigue settles in. People normalize it. They adapt to it. They live years in this state, unaware that their metabolic engine is slowly losing efficiency. The kidneys contribute to this exhaustion in a similarly silent way. Their role is not glamorous, but it is essential. They filter waste, regulate electrolytes, balance fluids, and maintain the chemical environment your cells need to function. When kidney efficiency drops, toxins that should be eliminated linger in the bloodstream. This creates a subtle but persistent sense of heaviness, mental dullness, and physical weakness. People describe it as feeling off or drained without being able to explain why. They assume it's dehydration, stress, or aging, but what they're experiencing is filtration stress. Their internal environment is becoming harder for cells to operate in, and energy production suffers as a result. The heart's role in fatigue is often misunderstood. Most people associate heart problems with chest pain or dramatic events, but long before those symptoms appear, circulation efficiency can decline. Oxygen delivery becomes less optimal. Cells receive just enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. This is when people begin to feel exhausted by activities that used to feel effortless. Walking upstairs feels harder. Standing for long periods drains them. Recovery after mild exertion takes longer. The body responds intelligently by slowing you down because it cannot support sustained output anymore. Then there is the gut, an organ system that modern life has placed under constant assault. The digestive tract is responsible not just for breaking down food, but for absorbing the nutrients that make energy production possible. When the gut lining is inflamed, when the microbiome is disrupted, or when digestion is impaired, nutrients pass through without being fully absorbed. You can eat well and still be malnourished at the cellular level. Your blood tests may look acceptable, but your cells are underfed. This creates a state of internal starvation that manifests as fatigue, weakness, brain fog, and mood changes. The body cannot create energy without raw materials, no matter how much rest you get. At the core of all of this lies mitochondrial health. Mitochondria are the engines of your cells, and they are incredibly sensitive to stress. Chronic psychological stress floods the body with hormones that damage mitochondrial function. Poor sleep disrupts repair cycles. Inflammation interferes with energy conversion. Toxins impair enzyme activity. Over time, mitochondria produce less energy from the same inputs. This is when fatigue becomes constant, deep, and resistant to rest. This is when people say, "I'm always tired," and mean it. Caffeine becomes a trap at this stage. It doesn't solve the problem, it hides it. Caffeine blocks fatigue signals in the brain, forcing the body to push past its limits. This temporarily creates alertness, but it comes at a cost. Organs already under strain are forced to work harder. Recovery is delayed. The eventual crash is deeper. Over time, caffeine stops working altogether, leaving people more exhausted than before. The system is no longer responding because it is depleted, not unmotivated. One of the most dangerous adaptations humans make is normalization. When fatigue becomes constant, people stop questioning it. They build their lives around low energy. They plan rest days instead of addressing causes. They lower expectations instead of investigating dysfunction. The medical system often reinforces this by focusing on disease rather than decline. If tests fall within broad reference ranges, people are told they're fine, but organs can lose a significant portion of function before standard markers cross diagnostic thresholds. By the time a condition is named, the process has often been underway for years. Fatigue is not random. It is not vague. It is specific, meaningful information from your body. It is the earliest, most honest signal that something is not being supported properly. Ignoring it does not make it disappear. It only allows compensation to continue until it becomes damage, and damage eventually becomes disease. The hopeful truth is that the body is resilient. Organs can recover. Mitochondria can regenerate. Systems can rebalance. But this requires attention before collapse. It requires reducing chronic stressors, restoring proper nutrition, respecting sleep, supporting recovery, and allowing the body to exit survival mode. Fatigue is not something to fight. It is something to understand. If you wake up tired every day, if rest no longer restores you, if motivation feels impossible to access, stop blaming your character. Stop telling yourself this is just how life is now. Your body is not betraying you. It is communicating with you. Fatigue is intelligence. It is your organs asking for help while they still can. My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller, and if this message resonates deeply, it is not because you are weak. It is because your body has been patient for a very long time. Listen to it now, while listening can still change the outcome. If you feel exhausted every day, stop blaming your mindset. Stop pushing harder. Stop masking symptoms with stimulants and distractions. Listen to what your body is telling you. Fatigue is not weakness. It is intelligence. It is your organs asking for relief, support, and care. My name is Dr. Stuart R. Miller, and if this message feels uncomfortably accurate, it may be because your body has been trying to get your attention for a very long time. Don't wait until it has to scream, and organs can lose 30–40% of function before standard tests catch it. By then, symptoms have been screaming for years. Fatigue is not vague. It is specific. You just need to know how to interpret it.